Welcome, everyone. This is Systemize Power Play tracking issues in Reworks. As everyone starts filing in, we were hoping to just like start this off a little bit differently. So if you wanted to enter into the chat where you're signing in from, either state, city, yeah, there's the chat. It's like the little Q&A at the bottom. So if you click on that, then you can just enter it in and we can see where everyone's at. For me, I'm coming from Washington, which I think is a little bit of a majority here.
Got a lot of people coming in from Allentown, PA, Portland, Oregon, Hurricane, Utah, Byron Center, Michigan. Looks like Frederick,
Michigan.
Maryland, Bangor, Maine, Kansas City, Burton, Greenwood, Sarasota, Florida. So we got people from all over.
Oh, nice. Texas. Quite a few Michiganders. I'm originally from Michigan, so right in the middle here. Um, awesome. All right, so joining us today, I've got the support team. So Angela, Amelia, and Danny. All right, really quickly, where are you guys from?
Bend, Oregon.
Washington, Seattle. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so as you guys see, the Q&A, which I think most of you have found, it is at the bottom here. So you can just like click on that. If you have any questions like during the call, just type them in. We'll try to get to them as best as we can, but if not, we will follow up with you after the call. Then there will be a post-webinar survey. Just after you like click out of this, it'll both be in the email that gets sent out along with a playback. So we would love to hear your feedback, specifically if there's any like topics that you'd like to be covered. We're talking about like Systemize here, but even if there's something in like CounterGo or inventory specific, we would love to hear that. So today, and let's see. I don't know if we can enter this website into the form. I think it's Danny. I think you might be able to like comment on someone's
Yeah. Let's take a
and
look
see if
right
you can
here.
put that in.
Yeah, I'm
So we
just
do
gonna
have, yeah, as we like enter this in, we do have a web page that we're going to send you guys to have you download a form if you'd like to do this along with the call. We might go a little bit quickly, so you don't have to try to follow along. We will have a playback that we will send you, but this is going to kind of go over what we're going to be building out today. And this is a page that is on our systemized like knowledge base. And Amelia is going to like walk through also like where to find that. Now let's look really quickly. So if you ever have any questions as you're working through Systemize, or if you have our other products, CounterGo or inventory, there is a help section on the left. This allows you access to those articles and videos that I just showed. You can also email or schedule a call with our support team. So specifically today, we might be going a little bit quick just because we've got a lot to cover. But if there is things that you like want to kind of like customize, or you want like, some more like one-on-one help as you like set up like your job issues or rework form or anything else that's related to Systemize, you can just book time and one of our support specialists, they'll be on a Zoom like this with you and be able to like walk you through anything that you need. All right. So with that, I'm now going to turn it over to Angela.
Great, thank you. Okay, so issues, right? We all have them. But today we're going to focus on job issues and how to best track them within Systemize. So whether you're looking to quickly find jobs with current issues or capture more detailed information on those issues, Systemize has a few built-in tools to help. Each job has an issue section that, when filled out, displays a warning bell on the job, making issues easy to spot on the calendar or in the job view. You can also create specific views that filter for jobs with or without issues, so you can quickly find the jobs you need. Sometimes You'll need to track additional details on the issue. Adding a form to the job allows you to capture information such as cost or dollar amounts, square footage, anything else that's important to your team. Even better, that form information can be reported on, giving you a clearer picture of the issues affecting your jobs. So, like Ryan mentioned, today we're going to walk through a few ways to track job issues and highlight when each option might be the best for you. And we're going to go over a new feature that we've released, and we're really excited about that. The goal today is to give you a brief overview of each option. So we're going to move a little quickly, but Danny's going to be monitoring the chat, and we'll have some time for questions at the end. As always, if you would like a more in-depth discussion and want it more tailored to your system, we're always happy to set up a meeting over Zoom as well. And so with that, I'll switch it over to Amelia.
Thanks. Okay, let's get into our issues. All right, let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so like Angela mentioned, we're going to be going over things, our job issues and how to track them and different ways that we can track them. First, I'm going to start off with showing you a job where I've already tracked job issues, and I'm going to come into Amelia's house. So you can notice right up at the top, I already have some job issues here. When you use the job issues feature, it alerts you right up top. When you click on that one open, it pops you right down to the bottom, and you can see I have a lot of issues. Right down here, we can see the past issues that have happened, like the sink is missing. I'm going to click on that. What's nice about this feature is whenever anyone has added notes or changed anything, they can see all of the notes and the timestamp and the user who adjusted that. We also have a category. Categories are really helpful to know what area this issue arised from. And so it's a great feature to use. I'm going to go ahead and hit save on that. You can see I actually have an open issue where maybe that slab broke. Now, our job issues is really just to kind of alert people. You'll get that icon in the calendar and on job views. But when we want to really be able to track our issues more, one thing I've seen from a lot of other customers is creating a form to be able to track what exactly happened. What did we do to fix it? Did we need a manager's approval? What was the cost associated with that job issue? And those are the really things that are important to capture, not to place blame anywhere, but to really be able to take those as a learning opportunity. And how do we fix this going forward? Where can we see that a lot of issues are arising so that we can dedicate resources to that? And in that, I have this rework form. So this is where I'm capturing that information. I have my remake cost. I have the description of what needs to happen versus what caused the issue, as well as kind of like a reason code. Again, kind of tracking similar to those categories. What area did this occur in? So I'm going to go through how to create this form in your system so that you can track that a little bit more. And we'll take a look at doing these in tandem. Now, I pull my information from CounterGo into my job forms. I also recommend pulling this in when you have a remake, mostly for that square footage. So what I did on here is I duplicated my island that I need to remake, and I have in my quote order, I'll show you real quick just so that you can get an idea of what that looks like. So I duplicated that piece. I added it in as a separate area, and I zeroed out that cost because that cost isn't going to go to the customer, but it's still a piece that we need to remake and go to that square footage of this job. And on that form, when I go back into my job, I have a remake checkbox here, and I just check marked that box. This allows us to create one report to say how much square feet have we installed or fabricated this year, this month, and this is going to total up all of these forms, including that remake. With this checkbox, you can also create a report to say, I only want to see how much we've remaked. You can do that here as well in this form. by adding this in. Now, for folks who maybe don't pull the information in from CounterGo, you probably have a form where you're filling this out manually. This checkbox area is still really important to choose what is a remake versus what is regular in the job. Okay, so now we have our issues on this job. Let's go take a look at adding this into your system. So I'm going to go over to our settings. I am going to go to my little job. This is where all of those settings in the background live. And first, I want to look at issue categories. So this is, again, that feature down at the bottom of the jobs that we first looked at. We can add new categories by clicking on this plus create. And I'm just going to add one in there for fun. And you can also change the name of these if you need to edit them. Now, we also want to add that form in. So if we go back to our little job under settings and job forms, I need to get that form. So I'm actually going to click on help. I'm going to go to our articles and videos. There's two forms that you can grab this from, either the rework form or I'm actually going to pull up our, if I type in import, we have sample forms to download and import. So this has a few different forms in it, which can also be helpful. I'm going to click on this rework form. It opens up, it's a bunch of gobbledygook. That's okay. It's going to make sense once we import it. I'm going to go ahead and download it. I've already downloaded it, so I'll close out of that. And I'm going to go back to my help, hit that back button, and click on that plus create. Now we
And
see this
Amelia,
little.
really quickly, to download it, you would just go in your browser, like File, Save As, correct?
Yes, yep. You can
Yep.
save link as. Yes, exactly. Thank you,
Perfect.
Ryan.
Yeah.
All right, and so I'm going to click on this upload button, and I'm going to choose the file that I've uploaded, and there's my rework form. I'm going to open and import. So that gobbledygook all turned into this beautiful form. I have an unresolved field that is just relating to, I want to map it to my job number. If you don't have a job number, you can always remove that field or change it to something that makes sense for you. We already have this QR code in that form as well, but I want to show you how you can add that. If you want to add it to any of your other forms, this is that new feature. So under data type, job info, if you click on that where it says job name and scroll down to system fields, we have that job link QR code, and that will add that QR code into any form, job form that you want. This is helpful for adding it to your activity packets. So maybe your installer has this form on their activity packet. They can use that to scan on their phone, and it will take them directly into the job that this is related to. If you need to adjust anything in this form, you can, like that remake reason code, you can click on that box, click on that edit values up at the top, and you can either change the names here or add other fields. I'm going to just hit my back button. We have remake cost in here. Again, if you need to edit anything, you can add additional fields or adjust what is in here. So we have our categories. We have our form. I want to add this form into my install template so my install guys can use this QR code to go directly to that job and then maybe fill out notes or things. To do that, if we go back to our settings, our little job, and our activity packets, we did a whole webinar on activity packets that I do recommend you guys checking out. That will go into more depth on activity packets. Right now, I just want to add that into my install packet. I'm going to just click on this plus create, choose my job lead form, click on this drop down and choose my rework form, and also choose what activity that I want this to pull from. I'm going to go with install and hit save. Now again, I already have that in there, which is fine. It will just print off twice. And so now we have this in our activity packets. The other thing I want to do, again, we're going through a lot today, so feel free to schedule calls if we want to set this up in your own system. I'm going to go back to that little job. I want to create a phase for every time I do a remake. That phase is going to pull in a new fabrication and install date. And that phase is going to pull in that form we just did automatically into our jobs. I'm going to click on that template down at the bottom. And I'm going to create a new template. templates automatically pull in your activities and your forms into the job. You can do this for phases or when you start a job from the get-go. I'm going to click on that plus create. I'm going to name this rework and add the activity types that I want for that rework phase. So install and fab, hit save, and then the forms. So for today, I'm just going to choose my rework form. And then, you can also pull in your order area details as well. And I'll hit save and save. So we have our templates. I think we're ready to actually add this into a job now. I'm going to go back to my list of jobs. Let's say Todd's Kitchen has some major issues happening. Also, so we have that chat open. What are some issues that you guys commonly see? Are there issues that you guys are currently tracking? That would be kind of interesting to hear in the chat, like if there's common issues, just for something to gauge us on to know. All right, and so on my Todd's Kitchen, I'm going to go ahead and first add in my job issue. I'm going to click on that plus create. I'm going to add a subject. This is going to be maybe in Fab, we scratched the countertop. So scratched countertop. Ooh. And I want this to be urgent because I want this to happen immediately. And it's a fabrication issue, something happened during that point where it got scratched. So again, I have that urgent going to be at the top of my job. And now I want to add that form in with that phase. So I'm going to click on my plus phase. We also had a webinar on phases that you can also check out. I'll show you guys later where to find those past webinars. For this phase, I'm going to call it rework. I'm going to choose my template, that rework phase, and I'm going to hit save. So that pulled in my remake form that I can now start filling out. I'm going to say that this is a production error requested by Amelia, if I can spell my name. Date requested today. We need to repolish. And then, what happened. This could be, machine caught it or something, and I can't spell. And you can fill out this other stuff, maybe that's 50 square feet and remake cost. I need our guys to do that. That's going to be labor. Let's say it's $600. We hit save. So this is something that we can, again, report off of in the future on that remake form. And now we can schedule our phases. So that form itself is going to relate directly to these phases. Because it was a fabrication one, I can always delete this install because I don't necessarily need it for this one. We just need to refabricate it, and I can set the date of when that's going to be. All right, so we have that form filled out, we have our phase scheduled, and we have our job issues. Let's see where we can use this information. So first, job views. You can see I have my issues here. But you can also look at a job view where it's just jobs with issues. If you don't have this view, you can create the view by clicking on the customize and adding a filter. The filter type is going to be job issue. And you can say, I want to see my urgent and open job issues and hit save and apply. Once you change that, you can always save this view as like your job issues so that you can go back to it in the future. Now, these are going to be all jobs that have issues. Let's say with Amelia's house, maybe we fixed this. I can come in here and say fixed, and I can close it. That job has now fallen off of this list. So this can be someone's to-do list.
Amelia,
Yeah,
I was just going to point out on this view too, you can also filter by categories if you create those, if that's important to them.
absolutely. Yeah. So you could say, okay, well, maybe I just need to see all my fabrication issues. You can add those filters in. Great call out, Angela.
We had a pretty good question in the chat as well about how can we create some of those job issue categories.
Oh, yep. So again, those job issue categories, if you go to settings, job, and then issue categories, click on that plus create, and this is where you can list those categories for those job issues. I'm going to just hit back a few times to get back in here. If you wanted to add a filter to this to say I only want to see my fab ones, click on that customize again, the plus across from filters, and then we're going to do job issue, category, I'm going to say is, and I'm going to say fabrication issue and hit save. Oh, and I need to say urgent or open. And I'm going to hit apply there. So this way, I'll filter down that as well to just say, here's the issues related to that fabrication issue. So you can have a lot of different views. Just make sure to save the views that you find most helpful. On that form that we created and used, there's also an area for like manager approval. So maybe you need a manager's view to look at those forms to say, have these all been approved? We can also create a view like that. I already have one that's created, but that help article, the rework, will go over creating views like this. So for me, this is pulling up any of my jobs where that rework, the manager's approval is empty. And I can click here, like anytime you see anything underlined in Moraware, that means you can click on it. So I'm going to click on that production error. It actually pulls up that form straight from this page. And, you know, me as my own manager can say yes and hit save. Now that that is approved, that one falls off of that list. So again, helpful views relating to these different areas. Another great thing is reports. So again, I have a report for all job issues. This is related to just the issue, but we added those categories to. We can pull up all issues. So I'm right now, this report is showing all urgent, open, and closed issues and displaying the category. This is really the only kind of report we can pull in from the job issues in from that job feature. But that's why that form is super helpful. If I go back to my reports, I have a rework report that pulls in a lot of other information from that form. So this one is expanded to see additional information. This is great for those Monday meetings or those monthly meetings where your whole team's sitting down and saying, let's go over what our issues were and let's see the cost associated with that to say, hey, we had a lot of production errors. What can we do better in the future to reduce these? So this form can be really helpful to be able to pull in the cost associated and what actually went wrong so that we can track those. The more we track, the more information we can gather. And really the information you put into system, the information you get out of Systemize is only as good as the information you put in. So tracking those things is really going to be what helps in the future for knowing where did our issues arise from and how can we do better.
Got a pretty good question in the chat related directly to this view. Is there a way to sort these by time and date?
So there is. I have this set up by the year. And the way that I created this report is by, again, time and time selection. I chose year because this is my test database, but you can do month, week, whatever works for you. I'm going to do, let's do week. Reporting date, this is whatever date that you are currently in. So whenever you open this report, it's going to be whatever today's date, but you can always change that reporting date to look at last week. The measure, the one that I use directly from that form, the subject area is job form. Form template is going to be my rework form. The measure, this is where we choose the like what I'm totaling up. So for me, I wanted to do the remake cost and then the time field. So this is why I have that date requested in that form, but you can also do it by like fabrication date or install date or job creation date. There's a lot of dates to choose from. I like that rework date of request because that gives me an exact date related to that form. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And again, I chose changes to week, so we might see some things change in here. And let's say I only want to know the totals, so I don't want to see this information. I'm going to get rid of all of these display fields and hit apply. And that is just going to give me the totals of how much rework amount of money that we have had to cover. And then again, if you find a report that is helpful, you can save that view. Cost for reworks and save that so that you can come back to these in the future. So now I have my weekly cost of reworks. I should have put weekly in there so I would know for again in the future. And then my kind of yearly rework report.
Did we look at the calendar and what job issues look like on the calendar?
No, thank you. Calendar. So job issues, this is again related to that where you see that bell at the top of the issues, you can see that right in here. So when you click on that, you can go into the job itself, but this alerts everyone that there is an issue on this job. Any other questions?
We got one a little bit earlier about reports, differences between using that remake checkbox with orders versus just using that information on only a form.
Yeah, great question. So, again, I want to be able to say how much installed square feet I've done by month. So this is telling me how much I've installed, and that includes those checkbox forms. We could even change that to fabrication if you needed. But if I came in here and say, okay, well, now I only want to know how much I've remade, I can add a filter to say I want to look at just my forms, and I'll go to my remake form. And again, you can filter even by codes, which is helpful. I'm going to use, actually, I want to use, sorry, my order room details because that's where I'm tracking that from CounterGo. And I am going to do my remake rework, and I want to say that is checked. So now I want to see everything that was just remakes and hit apply. So you can see in July, I had 20 from that form. So it's a ability to show in one report how much square footage you have fabricated all this month, including those reworks. We're being able to then pull that information out to say, okay, well, now I just want to see what was fabricated for remakes. Rather, if you just use that form that has the square footage that we created together, you would have to have two separate reports and add those fields together to say, well, in my remake forms, I had 20 square feet, but altogether I had 600 square feet. So together, 620. I mentioned earlier that we've done a few different webinars. I just wanted to also show you where those live. So if you go to moraware.com/events, you'll see any upcoming things happening, such as webinars, and then our latest on-demand webinars, and you can view all past webinars. This will go through what, our phases, our activity packets, the information that goes from CounterGo to Systemize. So a lot of things we kind of touched on even today, if you want to dive deeper into those.
Got another quick question on if you can review where to create those phase templates to add those rework activities.
Yes, so templates. If you go to settings, job, templates down at the bottom. So again, this is where all your templates live, and this is what pulls in those activity types and the forms. So to create a new one, you click on that plus create. You can name it and choose whatever activity types you want. And then whatever forms you want to pull in there as well. And whoops, I have some of those already in there. Awesome. Did I miss anything?
Oh, well, good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. And we will, so just a reminder, later today, you'll get the replay of all of this so you can watch it again. We'll also send out in the email a link to that knowledge base article, both of them that Amelia pulled up, where you can like download that rework XML file. It also has instructions on how to upload it. And then another reminder, you'll get a survey after this event, and you'll also get it in your email. So if there are other recommendations for topics that you'd like us to walk through, we'd be happy to hear those. And then the final plug, these are all things that can be like walked through on our support call, which is free and unlimited for all of our customers. So if you're trying to figure something out, you need somebody to help you like walk through, or you kind of want to talk about like a very specific challenge, you can just use that little help icon and that'll allow you to schedule a meeting. But thank you everyone for joining in, and thank you guys for walking through this. This was really, really helpful. So a lot of great information. All right. Take
Okay,
care.
thanks.